I'm a Jamaican living in Argentina, and I've been living in Argentina for over 10 years. I recently moved to Buenos Aires and I've been exploring a little, and I just wanted to share with you my experiences of living in Argentina. What is it like living in Argentina in 2024? Is it worth it? Why am I still here? While I make spinach tart, which is something that they make here a lot. So if you are planning on visiting Argentina, or if you recently got here and you're not sure what's going on in this country, this is the channel for you, because I can share with you many tips, share with you my experiences, and I hope this information will be useful. So don't go anywhere. Okay, so here I have the tarts covering or shell or whatever it is, it's already made. And that's one thing that I love about Argentina, is that you can make pretty much anything at home. In Jamaica, that's not the case. Here in the States, yes, but in Jamaica, it's easier to buy stuff than to actually make them. Now, I have the spinach that I bought for almost 5,000 pesos, which is appalling because I was so shocked. Like, why am I paying 5,000 pesos for spinach? That's probably like $5 US. Maybe it's normal to those who live in the States or in other countries. But spinach, so expensive. The thing is, guys, I've been in Argentina for 10 years, so I've seen 4 presidents. Imagine that, 4. And when I just came to Argentina, it was pretty much stable. So prices would be constant for months. Maybe you'd see a peso increase or 2 pesos, I mean, sorry, my Spanglish. And imagine when I just came, so I could buy my monthly groceries. Now I'm spending probably almost 200,000 pesos in groceries in just 10 years. It's ridiculous. And even though, you know, it's been a while that we've been like this, it's still hard for me to fathom. Now, when I just came, the dollar was about 10. So it would have been I don't know, my math, maybe $30 for groceries at that time. And now it's probably 200. It's still crazy. It's still crazy. Like, doesn't matter how much I convert it, it's still expensive. Okay, I like this angle better. Alright, so first thing, I'm gonna chop up my spinach and wash it. It's a bit fridge burnt. Ooh. Doesn't matter, we're gonna use it just the same. Alright, so why did I come to Argentina? I came to Argentina 10 years ago because I wanted to fulfill my passion, my desire, my purpose to become a dentist. Now, I came and then things didn't really work out. I stopped going to school and I just pretty much worked. Argentina in those days, it was okay. It wasn't perfect, but it was not, you didn't have so much instability as you have right now. But ironically, I'm living a little better now than I used to. I'm living better in inflation than I lived when there was no inflation, or there was less inflation. And I guess it depends, because now I'm working. Back then I wasn't really working. And then just was like kind of a mindset, I think, because now I think differently than I used to. Now I think that, you know, life is meant to be lived, and also I just think that, you know, I deserve good and wonderful things in life. So, when did things start to change? Now, when I just came, the president at the time was Christina, and you know, they're all for the people, they say, and probably they don't care so much about growing the economy, or, you know, they hide the things so that it seems that the country is okay, but really and truly it's not. So, but people were still tired of her because they wanted more. A lot of persons didn't like her. So they voted in Macri, which was the opposing party. Now with that party came a lot of changes because they wanted to grow the economy, they wanted to make changes and all of that. And then people started to see a lot of rapid change, just like what we're seeing right now. And as much as they wanted more for the country, they were not pleased. So people started to blame the government for everything, and then it was a whole thing. They didn't vote in back his party. They voted in another person who was also from the same party as Christina. That was Alberto Fernandez. And with that, the country started really well. When Macri was in power, prices started to increase, but they were more or less tolerable. Then when Alberto came in power, they really started to increase, and things just started to go down. And now, even with a change in government, there are still so many increases, and I'm starting to question myself. What am I doing here? What am I still doing here? Do I need to leave this country? But many foreigners have left. Many of the persons that came to for different reasons, mostly in my time in Rosario, because I lived in Rosario. I forgot to mention that. In Rosario, most of the foreigners actually students. So a lot of them eventually left. Some didn't complete, some completed and just decided to leave because they just couldn't take it anymore. I think we were okay with tolerating the increases for a while because we hoped that things would get better. But I think that after so many years of constant increase and so much insecurity, listening to the news and hearing everything, is like it gets to you. So you're like, maybe I need to be leaving. And Argentines are leaving, and you're like, Argentines are leaving. What am I doing here? But I decided to stay because for me right now, this is just my best bet. This is my best option. But I wanted to leave where I was. I wanted to leave Rosario because I just wanted something different, something new. And I thought that, maybe moving to Buenos Aires, I would be provided with more opportunities. So I made a brave move to Buenos Aires end of 2023. Now I've been here for 3 months, and I must say that every time when I'm at home, sometimes I contemplate if I made the right decision. But then when I step outside, I'm like, this is my place. Like, I made the right decision. Buenos Aires is the place to be. I still love Rosario, and I still do miss certain aspects of it, especially the fact that I have all my friends there. Everything that I know since being in Argentina is in Rosario. But I also felt like it was very limiting, and I just wanted more for my life. And Buenos Aires seemed to be the place for that. Now, I wanted to achieve a lot more, but that's because I'm just impatient. And just too because time is going and other personal factors. But the thing is, like, I think I've done a lot so far, more than I probably had accomplished in all the time that I've been in Rosario. Or maybe not, but I'm doing well. I'm going well. I'm going on well. I want to grow my channel, so that means that I need to go out more. And that's sometimes hard to do because, I'm just here and I'm cozy and I'm comfortable. And I work from home too, so everything gets done at home. And I don't have anyone here tormenting me, so I'm not forced to leave. So I need to get out more, show more of Buenos Aires, and to see if I can grow my channel. No. What else did I like to talk about? Rosario, Argentina. Okay, so how has the inflation affected just life in general? Now, I must say that I've never really lived in a country with such high inflation. Like the dollar in Jamaica, it increases, but it increases at a very slow rate. And I think that it has been at the same value for the last probably 10 or so years. Like, it's extremely stable in Jamaica. Of course, prices go up, but the dollar is not moving constantly, and the prices are not going up at the rapid rate at which they go up in Argentina. So there's more, stability, I would say, in Jamaica. So I've never experienced this kind of living. So coming here was like, well, what I'm experiencing now, because in the beginning it wasn't like this. What I'm experiencing now is like really nerve-wracking, and it leads to a lot of insecurities and uncertainties. But I'm still in awe at how Argentines live, or how they manage to still go out all the time. Restaurants are always full. They're always traveling. The shopping malls are always full. They're always buying. They're just always out and about. And all you see on the news, Argentina is experiencing a poverty rate of 60%. And I'm like, Yeah, like we all struggling over here. Like prices are going up like crazy, but I don't see that. I don't see that level of poverty that they're talking about. And maybe it could be that it's where I'm living. Maybe if I should travel a little bit more outside of the center, then I would see a lot more struggles. But these people seem to be living pretty well to me. And I had posted a video once, like asking them, like, how are y'all doing it? I understand they have family members, so maybe they can, you know, go back home to their parents, or some of them probably moving with their partners so that they pay less. But I'm still in awe at how they live in this crisis. And, you know, I've been told that they're used to it because every 10 or so years, Argentina goes through a crisis. So they're due a crisis. I think the last crisis they had was in 2001. And that's when a lot of them migrated, a lot of them went to the States. So when I was studying at the university, a lot of the students, well, not a lot, but a number of them would be like, oh, I used to live in the States when I was younger, when I was so and so years old. And I'm like, oh yeah, why is it that so many of them live in the States? And then they would tell me about that experience, that things were so bad when a lot of them went to the States, some went to Europe, of course. And, you know, after things got better in Argentina, but I heard at that time was really bad. Like there was no food, like it was really bad. So when things got better, a lot of them came back to Argentina because, of course, you know, Argentines love their country. They're very patriotic and all. So they came back to Argentina, and, you know, things got better, and yeah, they're living. So they say that they're used to it. It's not the worst that they've seen, which I can agree. I don't think it's extremely bad. It's bad, but it's not that bad. So they're used to it. They know how to work around it. Like, but foreigners, or depending on where you're from, because obviously a lot of foreigners come to Buenos Aires specifically because it works out better for them because of the exchange rate. But I've seen some foreigners complain that it used to be really, they used to benefit them or work in their favor, but with time it's like it's not working out anymore because prices are increasing so rapidly that it's not even making sense. But I guess to some people it still works out because it depends on also how much, what's your financial standing. Some persons that have it really well, others not so much. And as I said, if I go to the supermarket and I spend $200, like, to me that's probably a lot of money for the month for one person, but to another person that's probably like, no, that's cheap. Because guess what, it's not only in Argentina that prices are increasing. Like, people all over are complaining that food is getting so expensive all over. It's not even like, okay, the trips and whatever, the clothing or stuff like that. Food, which is a necessity, is getting so expensive all over the world. So it's not just Argentina. So for some persons, it still works out in their favor because guess what? It doesn't matter where you go, it's gonna be pricey. And let's talk about how, like, I feel like I'm talking a lot. I'm gonna take a break and then come back. I'm back. Okay, so I'm gonna show you. So I'm gonna cook the spinach just a little because I don't want, it's gonna be baked, oops, as well. So I don't want to put too much. And I normally put a little vinegar when I'm cooking my vegetables because it gives it like a nice flavor. Shouldn't have done that. Should have put it when it was a little bit cool. Alright. Not good. Then I add a cube of Maggi seasoning to give it flavor. Alright, so while that does its thing, I'm going to chop up my vegetables, my seasoning. I have onion, garlic, tomato, sweet pepper, and pepper. Now, yeah, since we're doing this, I'm just gonna talk a little bit about like finding ingredients to make food that I'm used to. Like, I know that people from all over the world come to Argentina, and it's impossible for you to find absolutely everything that you need to make your dishes. But I think Argentina, well, Buenos Aires especially, is international enough for you to find certain items. When I just came to Argentina, it was almost impossible to find peppers, plantains, mango, stuff like, tropical stuff. But then, well, more or less, because you have the Peruvians who would buy those things, but there were very specific places that you could find them. But then with time, you started to realize that they were becoming more and more frequent because more Brazilians started to come towards Rosario, more Haitians, so they started to cater to them. So the verdurerias that are in areas that have a lot of foreigners would sell different products than the verdurerias that didn't have foreigners. So where I used to live initially, there were a lot of foreigners there close to the faculty, and I could get anything easily. But then I moved away, and there were really no foreigners living there. So they didn't have those things. So that's something to take into consideration. Now in Buenos Aires, that's a whole different thing, because Buenos Aires is so international, so diverse, that you can find so many things. Now the Venezuelans, a lot of them have restaurants, they have their verdurerias, their little shops, so they sell a lot of international things or things from their country. And I'm starting to realize that Jamaica and Venezuela have a lot in common. So I can find a lot of things that I want in the Venezuelan store. And where I live, the Coto has a lot of nice things too. Like they have coconut, they have plantains and mangoes and stuff like that. That's something that I wouldn't find in the Coto, close to where I used to live in Rosario. No. Well, of course, you understand, supply and demand. Why supply it if there's no demand? So yeah, no. Barrio Chino is also that place to find international products. Like, I recently visited Barrio Chino and they had so many things. Like, they had tamarind. That's something that we have in Jamaica. I've never seen it here. I didn't expect to see it here. There's something else that I saw. I can't remember right now. But yeah. So, you will be able to find a few items that you need to make food from your country. You just have to be patient and ask around. There's a group that's called Buenos Aires Expat Hub. It's a really good group. People are always willing to share what their findings, and you can ask, maybe you'll find someone from your country that has been here for a while and they'll be able to help you to locate the items that you need. Yeah, just that probably they'll be a little bit more on the pricey side. I know Barrio Chino is pretty pricey, and you can understand, it's the stuff are important. Now if you're vegan, you don't have to worry. I think Argentina is a great place for vegans because they have so many nice fancy restaurants that you can go to have a ball, to celebrate your birthday if you're vegan. And a lot of the stores, they'll have like, a lot of restaurants, they'll have like a vegan option or a vegetarian option. They'll even have, if you're a celiac as well, if you're allergic to gluten, they will have options for you as well. That's something that I really like. And they have a dietetica, if you don't already know. That's where you can get all your natural stuff. And some of them will have like, some areas will have natural markets, and Eneldo is one of them. That you can find all the natural stuff that you're looking for. Like, trust me, it's if you want to eat healthy in Argentina, you can, because you have so many options. Now, you also have options to make you fat. So you have to decide what you're gonna do, right? Alright, so the next thing, I have like notes here of things that I want to talk about. I hope I'm not boring you too much, and I'm taking forever to cut up the seasonings. And I'm hungry, it's past my lunch time. And this is my lunch. But let's talk about crime. No, you know, I was living in Rosario, and you guys should know right now, like Rosario is like the probably the crime capital of Argentina, and it's bad, but it's even not that bad compared to where I'm coming from in Jamaica. And most of the crimes happen in like certain communities. Unfortunately, sometimes when the gang member that they want to send a message, they will attack innocent people. So that's when it kind of spreads beyond the border of certain communities, areas, or groups. I live in the center, and I must say that the only thing that I really worried about was getting my phone stolen, because it's not like you see like people walking around getting shot, or you know, people like running into stores and stealing. No, you don't really see that. They'll probably like grab your cell phone if you're not paying attention, but that's the most that I've seen or heard about. You just have to be aware of your surroundings and try not to attract them to yourself. But then too, as I said, it's because I was living in the center. If you go on the outskirts of the city, then it gets a little bit more tricky. Right. So Rosario recently had a flare-up of violence, but then it calmed down. Hopefully it will stay that way. Buenos Aires, also the main thing is your cell phone. They have I don't know, they're obsessed with cell phones in this place. Sorry, especially if it's like if it's really expensive, like iPhones and stuff like that. And to think of it, sorry, the other day I was on the bus, and this guy came on the bus, and he attempted to steal a girl's phone. Like, I didn't have my phone out, and he was so close to me, thanks be to God. Like, I had my phone put away, but she was on her phone. So you have to be aware of your surroundings, and also know the areas that you're in. Certain areas, you just know that no cell phone zone. Sorry. I will do another video talking about like certain scams and stuff like that. I was scammed recently. After all these years, I was scammed for the first time recently. So that's kind of sad, but it's a part of life. You live and you learn. Yeah, let's go on to the next thing I want to talk about. How do Argentines view foreigners? Now that depends on where you are. Where I was living in Rosario, it was a 50-50, because when I just came, like I came here 10 years ago. During that time, you didn't have a lot of foreigners. You didn't have a lot of black people coming into the country. Sorry. So the bus would stop, and people would they would all turn and just stare at me, like give me this dead stare, and I'm like, okay, hi. They would always stop to ask questions. There was one to take photos. It was like a whole zoo going on. A whole show going on in Rosario. But then I posted a video about it, and then people were like, oh no, what are you talking about? In Rosario, you're just another person. So I realized that Buenos Aires, they had been introduced, they had a greater introduction to black people, so it wasn't like a big deal, like, oh my gosh, you're a foreigner, what are you doing here? And I realized that here, like, people don't really ask me that many questions. Oh, off my balcony, my business is being shown. Give me a minute. Yeah, as I was saying, is that I realized that here in Buenos Aires, like, you're just another person. Like, no one really asks you anything. They think that you're a foreigner, you're just here visiting and you'll be leaving soon. Like, in Rosario, they all think that you're here to study, so they're gonna ask you questions, and they're gonna ask where you're from, or they're gonna assume where you're from, and then they're gonna ask you a whole string of questions after that, which is all good. I understand your curiosity, but it can be annoying sometimes. Imagine you having to answer the same set of questions, because they all ask the same questions, to every other person that you come in contact with, and you have to do that for years upon years. Like, sometimes it gets too much, but I try to be patient and understanding. Yeah, but in Buenos Aires, it's like, oh, you're just another person, like, we don't care. But some persons will feel a way because they're like, oh no, all these foreigners are coming here because everything is so cheap and everything is so expensive for us. So they'll start to get a little bit of, you know, un poco de rechazo. but it's not to the point where they'll attack you because you're a foreigner, or they hate you because you're a foreigner. No, they're actually pretty welcoming and kind and nice people, based on my experience. I do find though that the porteños, as they call it, people living in Buenos Aires, they're a little bit more, they're not as friendly as the Rosarinos, the people who live in Rosario. Because Rosario, even though it's a city, it's still like considered, it'll be like a little town in comparison to Buenos Aires. So, you know, the smaller the place, the nicer the people. So that's the case here. But the porteños, at first, I had a little, you know, it was like a little bit of a culture shock for me, because I didn't find them to be as welcoming and kind. But then with time I realized, I guess I've kind of figured how to deal with them, and I just find that they're nice people too. So no need to worry. Okay, so what are the benefits? What are the advantages and disadvantages of living in Argentina? Advantages. It's just a really nice chill place. I think they have a good work-life balance, even though I think they could work a little bit more. Well, in Buenos Aires, I think they work a lot, but in Rosario, not so much. But things are changing. They work, but they also enjoy life. And their enjoyment doesn't have to be anything that involves a lot of money, and it doesn't have to be extravagant. Just going to the park to eat some biscuits and drink mate and sit on the grass with your friend es un planazo. Or that's like a really great plan for Argentines. The kids too, like they get to go to the park. And I understand too that's because most of them live in apartments, so they don't really maybe have a lot of yard space, so they always have to be out and about. But at the same time, it's like they relax a lot. They get time off, they relax. In Jamaica, you get time off, you're trying to do all the housework in the world. You're trying to cook all the food. You're trying to go and help all the neighbors. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't help and do all those things, but time and place. Like, there's also time for you to rest. And that's something that we don't do a lot in Jamaica. So when I came here and I saw just how people relax, like Sundays in Argentina are for relaxing, time to be with your family, your friends, to go out. In Jamaica, Sundays are for doing housework and for cooking this elaborate dinner. So yeah, that's something I like. Another advantage is that you're just so close to other countries that you can just easily just hop on over and go to. You can take a ferry to go to Uruguay. In a few hours you're in Uruguay. You can take the bus to Chile in a number of hours. You're in Chile, almost a day. But you can take the bus to Brazil. I've taken the bus to Chile. I've taken the bus to Uruguay. I've taken the bus to Brazil. So it's like, I like the fact that these countries are so close. You can just, you know, go over and explore. Another advantage is that they have a really big nightlife. Like, if you wanna live the life and just go out and explore, like, come to Buenos Aires. There's just always something to do. Absolutely always something to do. There are too many things to do in Buenos Aires. So I like that. Like, if you're someone who's active, you're looking for activity, like you don't want to be bored, you can come to Buenos Aires. And also, if you want to connect with people, it's a good place. As I mentioned before, it's like an international city. There's this event that's called Mundo Lingo, and they have it from Tuesdays to Fridays, where people just get together and speak, and most of them speak English. And yeah, you meet people from all over the world. I'm like, wow, I've never even heard of that country before. Like, I saw two guys, they say that they were from Bosnia, and they give you like your flag to wear on your shirt when you get there. And I saw a flag, I'm like, where is that flag from? And they're like, Bosnia. I'm like, oh my gosh. I probably have heard about that country like maybe once. Like, it was so crazy. But they're here in Buenos Aires, so it's a great place to network, to connect. And my bad, I haven't been back in quite a while. It's just so hard. I tell you guys, it's so hard for me to leave my house. I leave when I'm invited. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, that's an advantage, meeting people, networking. Another advantage is that you get to experience like the country of some great people, like Messi, Maradona. You get to experience their football culture, which I'm yet to experience. I'm just so mad that I haven't gotten the chance. But here it's so hard. It's not like I could just go and just buy a ticket. You have to be like a socio and someone has to give you the go ahead or something like that, because and the stadium is always full. I'm like, where's the crisis in this country? But yeah, another advantage, let me see if I can think of one. Maybe their language is like, you get to learn another language, and the language that's so unique as well. They express themselves in such interesting ways that you can't help but admire it. All right, so I'm gonna get this seasoning going, and then when I come back, I'm gonna talk about the disadvantages. Okay guys, so you can see I have all the seasoning there. I'm gonna let that cook up a bit, and then I'm gonna add the spinach, let it rest for a while, and then it's gonna be time to put it in the oven. I'm gonna add cheese to it. Just a tip, this cheese, La Paulina, the purple one, doble crema, it was actually recommended to me by a friend that it's tasty. So if you're looking for a cremosa cheese to try, you can try this one. Okay guys, so while I get this bandeja ready, put the tart in. Let me talk about the disadvantages of living in Argentina. So one of the major disadvantages is that it's so unstable. It's like every time there's a change in president, it's like it's a whole new country. Like the laws change, everything is like so completely different. And I'm not sure if that happens in other countries, but in Jamaica, if there's a change in government, certain things change, yes, but there's still some amount of normalcy. But here it's like you're recovering from a world war or something. It's like a completely new world. Let me get this out before. Right. Now, another thing that is not so pleasant when it comes down to living in Argentina is the fact that it's such a closed off country. Like if you're a foreigner and you want to get stuff from your country or just from places that you're used to, it's so hard because they have really strict rules as it relates to importing. So you can, well, I get packages through the post office, and I've gotten packages from the States and from Jamaica, and it would like take like a month to get here. Well, to get to Rosario. But maybe if I were living in Buenos Aires at that time, it would take less time, because I think the hold up is mostly when it gets to Buenos Aires and it's supposed to go to Argentina. Because, you know, talk about they don't really like to work sometimes. But yeah, now things should be probably a little different. But I always see foreigners asking this question, and they're always like, no, just wait until you travel, or, you know, go try getting it from another country. So I'm thinking that the process hasn't improved. Hopefully it will soon with the new government. Now they want to improve importation and open up the borders and stuff like that. Another disadvantage to living in Argentina is that you just never know what's going to happen when it's going to happen. It's like they live for the thrill. You can go today and something always operates at a specific way, and then you go back and you're like, oh no, that's not how we do it anymore. And I'm like, okay. Another disadvantage is that, well, right now with the inflation, is that their economy has never really been stable or stable for a long time. So there are a lot of uncertainty when it comes on to the economy and stuff like that. Another disadvantage, it would be with the crime. You know, nowhere the world is like extremely safe, but you know, you have some countries that are pretty safe. Like Argentina could easily be one of those countries if certain things were put in place. But it's not like extremely unsafe, but it's not like it's extremely safe either. So it would be nice to have like a safer country. And I think that would probably be it. It was so hard for me to find the disadvantages. You see, like things are not the best, but they're still not the worst. Like they could be worse. So Argentina is not that bad after all, I guess. So here we have the spinach. I try to remove as much of the liquid as possible, but some still got into it. But that's fine. It will eventually evaporate in the oven. So I put some cheese at the base. You don't have to if you don't want to. And then I'm gonna put some more at the top. I love cheese, guys. So if I'm eating something that I don't really like, but I know I should be eating, like the spinach, I add cheese to it and pepper to give it like a nice flavor. I think that should be enough cheese because there's some at the base as well. Then I'm gonna cover it. And some persons make it like in an open form. You can do that too if you like. Trying to seal the middle of this. Right. You put it over like that. And then you just bring over the end of it. I'm so very. There's no the what? Oh my! It's a pity. Like I need an extra hand. All right. And there you have it. The tart. I'm gonna pour off this excess liquid. Before I do so, I'm just gonna add some air spaces so that it has space to breathe while it's baking. And then in the oven it goes. I'm back and my tart is done. it's a little burnt at the top. I turned the oven up too high, so it's a little bit burnt, but it's still good. I like my tarts a little crocante. So yeah, I'm gonna have my lunch at what, 3 o'clock, which is really bad. And I just wanted to say, if you've gotten this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And to sum things up, Argentina. Is it still a good place for you to live, to visit, to work, to have your family? Absolutely. Depends on what you're looking for. It's your decision. But all in all, it's not an extremely bad decision. And if you're planning to visit, I would say come visit, explore it. They say that Buenos Aires has a charm and it will capture you. And of course, the country is much more than Buenos Aires. There are other provinces that you can visit that are absolutely beautiful. But that's another story for another day. So thank you so much and bye.